moving forward, I'd like to share with you the profile of our next speaker. Her name is Sunaina, and her role, she's actually the navigating global, she's the role of a strategic alliance manager, APAC, for TransPerfect. Now, I searched a little bit about TransPerfect. It's so interesting that even at the website, they've got these transition wordings and language that they use that really capture my attention. Is that your customer could be anywhere. Does your brand speak their language? And then it changed to another one again. Your users could be anywhere. Does your product speak their language? Then your stakeholders could be anywhere. Does your content speak their language? Your target markets could be anywhere. Does your website speak their language? Look, this is such an amazing transformation in words that we can use. So what are they selling is actually they've got 30 years of experience helping organizations connect with their audience in any languages. So Sunaina's role in this company, Strategic Alliance Manager for APAC, she oversees the partner program for TransPerfect's Global Link technology platform, the world's most widely deployed globalization management system. With several integration points to Adobe's technology stacks, Sunaina helps partners navigate the challenges associated with scaling their business in the region. Optimizing proposals to enterprise brands looking to go global and expand their background and working experience in global consulting companies. Sunaina also put herself in the shoes of her partners easily to create a win-win situation. Currently based in Hong Kong, Sunaina is a graduate University of Warwick in England and holds a BSc degree in clinical psychology. So the topic that she's going to touch on is all about conquering global market, with the power of localization, multilingual, cultural, and accelerate international path. So I'd like you to put together your hands and please welcome beautiful, elegant, and articulate Sunaina Ajwani.
Hi. Thank you very much. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session on navigating global expansion through international e-commerce success. This is TransPerfect's first year sponsoring Meet Magento Singapore, and we're incredibly thrilled to be here today. I'd like to say a special thank you to Renaissance, to Renaissance for organizing and planning such a fantastic event. TransPerfect, we've been a part of the Adobe ecosystem now for over 14 plus years. So this particular community here is a close one to our hearts. In today's session, you'll be hearing more from me about the power of localization in accelerating international sales, and more specifically, how to identify, land, and expand across global markets by addressing every single touch point of your international customers' preferences. We've got about 25 minutes for this session today, so just like the perfect mini-skirt, I'm going to keep this session long enough to cover the essentials and short enough to hold your attention. But just in case we do run out of time as well, I've included a QR code here to my LinkedIn profile. Feel free to scan and connect should you want to discuss some of these topics in a little bit more detail. So I'm Sunaina Ajwani Howells. I've been in TransPerfect for just under 2 years now. And during this time frame, I've had the opportunity to travel across various countries to meet with my team members, but also to experience the uniqueness of each country. And I've actually selected a couple of highlights that I'd like to share with you today. So here we go. This first photo is me in Australia in a wildlife reserve with a kangaroo. In this next photo, you can see me in front of the infamous bean structure in Chicago. 这个是我的照片，在新加坡的老帕萨。这个也是我的照片，在新加坡的 Raffles Hotel Long Bar. E questa sono in Italia. Okay, I'm going to try and get this one right. ये मेरी जयपुर में picture hai. There is lots more in common across countries than we can imagine, whether it is historical monuments, the religious buildings, us as human beings and our love for family, food, sunrise, sunsets. The list of commonalities can really go on. But what really differentiates us as human beings coming from different backgrounds and cultures is language and culture. Now, that's one of the first things that we learn when we come into this world, how to interact with one another. Because that's the premise of us as human beings, to communicate and express our thoughts, feelings, emotions, and desires with one another. And although every single country speaks a different primary language, which might have some similarities, language is actually very, very unique, both in its structure and in the way that it reflects the culture of the people who speak it. So here's a quote by David Ogilvy, who I'm sure all of you are aware of. He said that if you're trying to persuade people to do something or to buy something, it seems that you should use their language, the language they use every day and the language in which they used to think. And in fact, there's tons of research that supports this. There's tons of research that shows that companies who serve up in-language content to their audiences see a direct increase in their top-line revenue figures. I've taken this slide from a presentation we did with Visa at Adobe Summit earlier this year in Las Vegas, because there's some really interesting stats here from the CSA research reports that show why global brands must deliver local experiences in language. You've got 75 people who are way more likely to purchase a product if their shopping experience is in their native language. You've got 57% of people who say information in their own language is way more important than the actual price of a product. And you've got a whopping 65% of non-native English speakers who prefer content in their native tongue. Now, despite all of these stats and the obvious reasons why companies should serve up in-language content for a personalized shopping experience, the majority of companies still invest insufficient efforts into localization. On average, you've got 75% of marketers who spend less than 10% of their marketing budget on localization. And as a result, 63% of them are not happy with the in-market outcomes. Today, TransPerfect, we work with thousands of companies across different industries, and I can say that a large portion of our client base did have the same mindset as these 75% of marketers who spent insufficient efforts into localization, probably treated it as an ad hoc requirement with some manual translations here and there, to then later realize to actually successfully expand and get into new foreign markets, they needed to adopt a more robust technology solution. Perhaps I can demonstrate this with a customer case study with the brands that I'm sure all of you are aware of, Pan Pacific Hotels Group. Pan Pacific have been a long-term customer and partner of TransPerfect's now. When they first started out their growth journey, it was really important for them to identify a translation management solution that could eliminate all the manual processes that came with translations, the copying and pasting of content, the long translation turnaround times, the long content review processes, and of course, the excruciating costs that came with all of it. They had a vision to basically automate the entire translation administration process and limit as much human intervention as possible. They were on AEM, so TransPerfect solution, Global Link, which is a translation management solution, it has a direct integration into AEM, and so it was the perfect fit for the problem that they had on hand. Today, Pan Pacific have been using Global Link for over 10 years now to manage the translations of 3 languages across all 30 of their properties in APAC. And on average, they've seen 30% in terms of reduction to time to market, reduction in cost, and increased efficiency as well. If you're interested to know a little bit more about this particular case study, you can scan this QR code here, which will take you to a webinar that we actually did with Adobe and Pan Pacific early last year. In Singapore, we've been working with various other brands like Marina Bay Sands, CapitaLand, Frasers, Singapore Airlines, Singapore Tourism Board, and even Love Bonito as well. Shout out to Aman for a fantastic presentation that he did earlier on. So we'd been working with Love Benito and various stakeholders in the company to deploy Global Link for Magento. And this helped to power their acceleration and growth into the Japanese market. Between Adobe and TransPerfect, we've been working together for over 14 plus years now to bring this reality to life for customers, to simplify multilingual content management. Global Link integrates not just AEM, as I mentioned, both on-prem and cloud. It integrates into Magento, Marketo, and Adobe Assets as well. And essentially what these integrations allow for is for companies to launch, maintain, automate, and control all facets of the translation process from within the existing Adobe interface. Beyond Adobe, we also do have integrations into 60 plus other platforms across eCommerce, product information management platforms, content management systems, as well as service desks as well, which basically helps to explain the widespread of 6,500 customers that are working with us today. Specific to the retail space, we've been in the space now for 30 plus years, and we have a footprint with beauty clients, in the luxury space, fashion space, with some footwear clients, and also consumer packaged good clients, all who started with that very typical manual translation process that I've been talking about. Here you can see on this windy road, with various blockers and detours of copying and pasting of content, long translation review, and quality assurance processes. So then a very streamlined and optimized translation process through the use of Global Link. Not only did Global Link streamline the processes, but it also limits the number of touch points the customers have to engage in order to perceive content in their native language. It's a little known fact that TransPerfect, which started out as a two-person company operating out of university dorm rooms, is now the world's largest language technology solutions and services company globally. We're situated in 140 cities with 9,000 employees and just shy of 1.2 billion in revenue. And our sole mission is super simple. It is to help companies communicate across global markets and to bring simplicity in that entire process with the use of technology. Now I'm going to stop talking for a second and I'm going to play a video to signify the importance of technology. I know it's so painful to sit through this first bit, but just hold on. Now, I didn't play that video just because it was loud so I could recapture your attention again, but because it draws a direct comparison to the reality of many companies who have limited budgets, limited resources, inefficient workflows, limited automation, and limited flexibility within their framework as well. Just like the F1 engineers in that video, this was their reality. This was the challenges that they were facing, despite their expectation of wanting a jar full of money. But all of us in this room know that the Formula One industry would not be as rich as they are today without the use of technology that is powering the quick turnaround times in pit stops. So just like Bill Gates said, the first rule of any technology used in a business is that automation applied to an efficient operation will magnify the efficiency. And the second is that automation applied to an inefficient operation will magnify the inefficiency. And all this amplifies is that companies that are looking to scale should always reimagine their processes in light of the new automation technology available to them in order to deliver the best possible experiences for their customers. Now, with that in mind as well, for us to actually start on our journey of optimizing and localizing our businesses across the shopping space, that is to prioritize local relevance by giving importance to multilingual content management across websites with technology. Personalizing someone's shopping experience by providing them with in-language content can have a significant impact. And hey, I get it, it's not going to be the first thing that you think about. In fact, let me ask a question. What do you see over here? Maybe this gentleman at the front. What do you see here on the screen? No trick questions. Yeah, it's a face of a man. It's a face of a man with a hat. Now, that's what 99% of the people in this room will see. But only 1% of the people in the room will see just this, a dog with a bone. By flipping the very same image I just showed you, but on the other side and viewing it from a different perspective. Now, the reason why I'm drawing this comparison is because a translation management solution is not going to be the first thing that you think about when you're looking to globalize your business. But when you do, it will be as clear as a diamond and the impact will be significant. Now, talking about the impact of a translation management solution, TransPerfect, we commissioned Forrester to complete a 3-year analysis on the global economic impact of Global Link. This was with one of our Chinese aviation clients. They had flights, cargo operations, flight routes across 50+ different countries. They were managing translations of 5 languages across all of their engagement channels. So this is their, the booking management, loyalty programs, online check-in channels. They knew that the process that they had been following around translations for years was problematic. It was manual. It was eating into their time to market. It was cutting deep into their pockets, and it was impacting their workforce morale. Because people were being asked to do jobs like translations that they had never been hired to do before. But they didn't know where to start. They had no centralized view of how much effort was going into translations, and they just did not know where to start. TransPerfect won the opportunity to go in and fix this. And to do so, we really had to peel back the layers to understand their as-is and to-be to-be state. Eventually, we deployed Global Link, which had, in less than 3 weeks, and this had some significant impacts within a couple of months. But very interestingly, what the report indicated was that over a 3-year period, this customer saw 13% in return on investments. 27% of that was down to productivity gains, and 73% of that was down to translation cost savings. So you can see the impact of a translation management solution can be pivotal for a company, and not just in terms of multilingual content management, but in terms of savings as well, that can then be repurposed to other initiatives in the pipeline. Now, without further ado, what I'm going to do is invite my colleague Satya onto the stage. He's now going to provide a demo of Global Link, and specifically Global Link's integration into Magento, so you could really visualize this impact I've been talking about. Satya is based in our TransPerfect Singapore office. He's been with the company now for a decade as the regional director of our sales engineering practice.
Hello, everyone. I'm sure no one was expecting me because I was not in the list of speakers, and I'm standing between your lunch. So I'll keep it short. We'll be focusing more on our Global Link platform, like a quick 5 minutes video demo to show you what the impact would be. But the idea is Global Link as a platform is your centralized platform for all your localization management. It helps you manage all your multilingual content across channels that you touch with your customers. Let's start. Yep. So this would be like, to start with, I'm just showing you a quick view of our centralized dashboard where you manage all your multilingual content coming from various channels. So here it can be Magento, AEM, Marketo. So basically, be it your marketing automation, commerce, or be it your experience, any content that goes through can all be helped with the localization from Globaling. It focuses on two parts. One is to actually help you automate the processes to get the content in and out of those platforms. And it also helps you to localize using AI. So we'll be moving into Magento, which is what we'll be focusing in our session today with our Magento connector. Once the Globaling connector is installed in Magento, it helps you automate your entire translation workflow process in and out of Magento. It supports product categories, CMS pages, page designer within it, product reviews. It helps you basically configure all your store views for different languages as you grow global. It allows you to have a dashboard, not just to send content, but allows you to have a dashboard within Magento itself for you to track all your translation requests. There are multiple ways you can initiate the translation request directly from Magento. One is you can automate the process as and when your products are in sync via your ERP, for example. You can also send content out for translation using the manual way which we are showing here. You can select content starting from products. You can initiate the translations. Instead of copying and pasting those content on a Word or Excel sheet, which is what we traditionally do, it's not a scalable platform when you are having multiple campaigns running, you have a lot of products going out into market. So something like this would help you automate. It's integrated with AI, so you can have an AI-only workflow for low touchpoint content. You can have AI with human validation workflows to make sure that someone is validating the content that goes to market. At the same point of time, making sure that those content that goes into market has been, I would say, validated and to a point where you want that quality of content to be. You can have all the categories translated as well along with your products. You can keep all your content fields which are not to be translated in sync as well using the connector. And once you do this, all you need to do is send for translation instead of sending it over an email or over a Word document to a translation vendor. And once the translation is being sent, you're not just sending it out, you can actually track all your translation requests right from the platform. So you can see what's in progress, what has been returned back, what are the entities that have been sent out for translation from Magento. And you can basically have everything in one single place and not leaving the platform that you're working out. Similarly, if we look from a view of someone who is validating the content, context is a huge piece when you're validating the content. So within our Globaling platform, you can see how the final content would look like even before it goes back into Magento. So it gives you full view. It gives you a lot of content governance as well. So let's say if you have vocabulary, you have terms like, for example, here, backpack. How do you want that to be represented in Chinese? So those can automatically be picked up when for someone who is validating the AI content to make sure that those are being taken care of. So this helps a lot in terms of when you are communicating with your customers, you're leveraging AI, and at the same point of time, you're providing feedback to the AI in context to make sure that it does a better job going forward with all those feedbacks that's being provided to the AI. So for us, we see more and more of our clients are using AI as the first cut for translations, and then having a validator, someone who can help improve that, and then going forward, the same validation is not required in future. And once that content is being validated, the content automatically comes back into Magento. Here you would see, like, we'll pick one of the content that has been translated. It automatically translates all those content which has been marked for translation, and contents or fields which have not been marked for translations are synced with your source English content. Which is what you see here. And moving on, there's a strong focus in terms of analytics and business intelligence as well. As a merchant, you would always want to know what's, for example, if you're launching into a new market, what's your cost from language may be one of the pieces, so what's your cost to launch into a new market? How much of AI that can be delivered upfront? What's the feedback that you can provide to AI to improve the quality? You can also look at how much time it takes for someone to validate the content. Are those being delivered on time? Are your campaigns running on time? So some of these things helps you improve your process. I would say track it with your KPIs to make sure all are, like from a cost perspective, from a time perspective, and from a quality standpoint, whether you are delivering the experience that you really want your customers to have. So just to kind of summarize what we do with GlobalLink, we have two aspects to it. One is how we can automate the process around localization using our connectors within Magento or other platforms. And at the same point of time, how we can leverage AI to generate or localize at scale with low touchpoint contents flowing directly through AI using our LLM models, as well as high touchpoint content can go through AI with a human validation and helping improve or having a uniform customer experience across all the language points that you'll be communicating with your customers with. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.